time student. How long have you been teaching apes?
I've been teaching apes for approximately 15 years.
Wow, okay. Do you have any prerequisites for this class?
Prerequisite for the class would be biology, and generally if you took Bio 1-2, it should probably be an A in Bio 1-2. Recommended A or B in advanced, or an ABC in AP Bio.
And then what about the homework load? Like, do you kind of
I would say homework load is pretty variable from day to day. A lot of times the homework is reading, and so a lot of the length of time and the load would be sort of dependent on your reading speed and your ability to retain the information that you read. I would say on block days, you could expect your homework load to be a little heavier because we often have labs on those block days, and then typically the night or two before the test. Depending again on how good your reading had been, earlier in the unit might increase the load on those nights as well.
And what about the class itself? Like, what's the style of your teaching style?
I would say the way I envision the class is kind of Mondays and Tuesdays are often like new content, lecture, maybe smaller activities. Block days are often lab days where it's a lot of kind of students working in small groups, and then Friday is kind of a recap of the week and kind of repeat that cycle with new content or new concepts as we go through each week.
Perfect. Do you want to add something else to the class? Maybe who should take the class or something?
The class, as College Board envisions it, and this maybe takes us back to the prereqs a little bit, is pretty much based on the idea that students should be able to apply content from previous courses to address environmental issues. So it is an elective class. It does require bio and at least concurrent enrollment in chemistry as well. And really where I think it's best suited is for students that have already taken both of those courses and are looking to get more science in their lives. So a lot of times the people taking it are juniors or seniors who have already had chem, already had bio, and just want more science, and it works well as a way to apply what you might have learned in those classes to environmental issues. But it is an elective too, so it should be something you're interested in doing, not feeling like you have to do, but that you're interested in environmental issues and you're interested in more science.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So what type of topics are going to be covered in the class?
So we usually start the year looking at sort of ecology, the study of natural ecosystems and the components of those ecosystems. In my mind, that sort of sets up the framework of how the environment should function if humans weren't messing with it. And then we look at human populations and population growth of humans in the next unit. And after that, we start kind of progressively going through different environmental issues, looking at how those human activities have altered the functioning of the natural world, both kind of from like a scientific point of view, how are those systems being altered, but also from a solutions-oriented point of view, like what are different solutions that are being tried, evaluating how effective those have been, again, through the lens of science, using science to kind of guide our understanding of how we impact the natural world, and then how different solutions are working. So we'll go through things like air pollution, water pollution, different land use issues like logging and deforestation, mining activities, agriculture is a huge part of it and the impacts that agriculture has. And then we kind of finish off with global issues, which are things like ocean acidification, loss of biodiversity, climate change, things that are kind of universally affecting the whole world, not just specific ecosystems in separate places around the Earth.
And what do you think about like the general student performance in this class?
General student performance over the last, pretty much since I've been teaching it has really been excellent. Student performance, we take an AP test at the end of the year. Students have historically done very well on it. I think a lot of that is a tribute to how well prepared students are that have come out of their past science classes and really do have good retention of what they already know and are just looking for new avenues to apply that information. It is still an AP class. It is a challenging class. The stronger a student's background is in their bio and their chem classes especially, generally the higher their performance is. Students can make up some gaps in that knowledge, but the class does go pretty fast for those that maybe are trying to strengthen that background and didn't have a strong background coming into the class.
And what do you hope students to get out of this class?
I mean, I'd love to say that everybody's going to go on and study environmental science and, become this next great environmental scientist and contribute to solving the environmental issues around the world. But realistically, what I hope is that it impacts everybody in a way that they kind of examine their own life and the contributions that they make to some of these environmental issues, many of which kind of one way or another we're going to have an impact. And it's more about how do I minimize that impact without affecting my quality of life. And I hope students kind of examine that for themselves. The other thing that's been really rewarding for me over the years is the number of people who come back who majored in things totally unrelated to environmental science. They might have gone into engineering, or they went into political science, and they come back and they say, that unit about agriculture gave me a much better perspective for talking about the politics around climate change, or that unit about soils was super important to my understanding of building strong foundations in my engineering program, and I had to take a soil science class, and I felt really well prepared. One of the things is it's a very interdisciplinary class, and a lot of people are shocked at how much little tidbits from the class become relevant in widely separate majors later on in life.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.